All right, in this video, I'm going to go over user profiles in HighLevel. So lately, I've been seeing a lot of people having issues with the different profiles, the different users that they add to their HighLevel accounts, adding them to specific locations, and why you would add someone to a specific location versus not adding them to a location, or aka sub account, and then having multiple profiles, which is not needed, and just some common misconceptions with user profiles. So I'm going to go over that, and we'll get right into it. So first thing, when you're on one of your sub accounts, first we're going to go into our agency view. So again, to get your agency view, you'll click on the drop down up here, click on switch to agency view. Now in here, go to settings at the bottom, and then we're going to click on team. So in the team here, this shows all of the profiles, all the users you've added to your HighLevel account. This is for any location, for just anybody you've added in general. As you see here, I have two profiles. It's both my names. So I can log into either one of these. Now this is not necessary. You don't need this. You really just need one. And I'll show you that and the reason why. So first, to figure out which one is your profile, the one that you're currently logged into, the way you can tell that is by, if you look on the side here, you'll see one of them that does not have a drop down. And so this drop down allows you to delete that profile. And the reason there was no drop down, a little side note, is about a year or two ago, HighLevel, when they were first running, or they were having a lot of problems with people mistakenly deleting themselves out of their HighLevel account, and then they lost access to it, so they have to reach out to support, and they don't have to give them access back. So they just simple fix, they remove that drop down, can't delete yourself anymore, problem solved. Cool. Okay, but now what we're going to go over is the locations here and why you only need one person. So what the locations are essentially the sub accounts. Okay, so as you being the owner of HighLevel, you do not necessarily need to add yourself to any locations. Now, probably you would just add yourself to one, because one of the locations or one sub account is going to be your main, is probably going to be the one that you're running for your agency. So you don't necessarily have to add, like here I've added myself to 8 of them, or 9 of them, but I don't necessarily need to do that. A lot of it's just testing. And so this one here, as you can tell, this one I've added to one of the locations. But really, I don't need this profile. I can totally get rid of this profile. And so the way I would do that is just click on delete here, and you delete the profile. Now, so this one, if we click on the edit button, and this is under the user roles. So down here, you see I'm a user type agency. Now, first off, between the user types and the roles, there's agency and there's account. So agency means I have access to look at the agency view here, as we're seeing everybody in all these backend settings. If you have someone on the account level, I'll just show you for this one. We'll go here. So this is account level or agency. So if they're on account level, essentially they won't have access to this view here. They won't be able to see any of this. They will only see the accounts that you add them to down here. So this is typically what it's going to be for any of your clients that you're bringing on for access to their own sub account in HighLevel. Because also the agency view, you get access to the billing, things like that. Okay, so that's what the account versus the agency view is. The next we have is the user role. When you select for user versus admin, so if you're on the account level, so this would be for your client. So a client, you'll give them the account user type, and then the role, if it's the main business owner, you're probably going to give them admin. And then you'll give any of the other employees, you give them user access. So admin, what that does, that will allow your client to add their employees to that sub account. If they're on user, they won't be able to do that. And there's just a couple other settings in there that they'll have more access to. So you'll mainly want to give your client access to the admin, and then any of their employees, probably just give them user access. Okay, so that's that. Now, adding them to the account means they'll only be able to have, adding to the account means they're only going to have access to this specific sub account. Okay, but let's go back to my main profile here. So mine, agency, and I can't change that, of course, because this is my HighLevel account. Can't downgrade myself. But same thing with user role, I can't change that. But now this is the main part of this video that I'm recording here, is adding to an account. So you really only need to add yourself to an account, to a sub account, to a location, if you are going to be, we'll say, part of that business. Say you're going to be an employee of that business. If you're not, you don't need to add yourself. Like I can actually go and remove myself from all of these. Okay, I'll have to go and click on confirm remove. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to remove this test account to show you an example. So remove. So I've removed myself from that test account. And so essentially what that's saying is I am not a part of that business. I'm not an employee there. I don't need to be. And I've removed myself, so I'm not, or we'll say I didn't add myself. And the reason for that is you can still go and access it because you're still the owner of the HighLevel. So you can still go in there and access it, make all the changes, make all the edits. But what you are not able to do if you don't add yourself to that location, click save here. See, if you don't add yourself to the location, things that you cannot do are you can't assign a lead to yourself. You can't be on the calendar. And then I think there's a couple other things, but you're essentially, think about it as you're able to go into that account and make all the edits to the campaigns, the workflows, the funnels, websites, anything like that, because you're the owner of HighLevel. So what you're doing is you're essentially walking into the business. Say it's a dentist, your dentistry. You're walking into the dentistry, but you're not actually an employee there, so you're just going there and observing. You can make changes, you make edits, but you're observing, you're not interacting with any of the customers. If you add yourself to that location, add yourself to that sub account, now you're essentially part of that business. So you can interact with customers, you can be assigned a customer, you can book calls, things like that. So let's go into that test account, which I've removed myself, and this is what we'll see. So if we come to the test account, okay, so in the test account here, we'll go down to settings, and then we'll go to my staff. So we'll see, in fact, this one, there's nobody on this one. So I'm not in this location, but I'm still in the sub account here because I can go and edit because I'm the overall owner of the HighLevel. But I'm not here, meaning I can't go add myself to a calendar. I can't assign any leads to myself because I'm essentially just an observer. I'm managing the business. And also you'll see here, there's under the my business settings, there's business info, my staff, pipelines. The one section that is missing is profile. You would have your own profile if you were added a location. So let's do that. Let's go back to the agency view. Let's go down to settings, go down to team, go back to my account again. We'll click edit, roles, add myself to the test account, and I'll save. So now if I go into the test account, then I come down to settings. Now you see there's a profile section here. So first we'll go to my staff. We'll go to my staff, and you see now I'm on here. So see, now I'm an employee here. I can do all the things I said before, assign myself, be on the calendars, yada, yada, yada. If we go into profile here, so now this is my profile. So I can change my password, change my login, my details, change my availability, email signature. Also, you have the other options down here of connecting Zoom, connecting Outlook. Then you can also connect your Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar. And then the booked appointments can get put on your calendar. So that's the reason why you would want to add yourself to location or why you would not add yourself to location. So what I've been seeing a lot of people doing lately is they'll have their main account, but they maybe didn't add themselves to location. And so now they're not complaining, but now they're figuring out why am I not getting booked calls onto my calendar? Why can't I get leads assigned to me? Well, that's because you didn't add yourself to the location. So you have to go just add yourself to the location. And the other thing is you don't have to add yourself to every single location because you don't need to be in every location. I'll just say it again, as the owner of HighLevel, you can go in and make edits to everything you want because you essentially own the software, but you just can't assign yourself to leads because you're not part of that business. All right, so I hope that makes sense. All right, before I get into the last part of this video, if you can go ahead and do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, that like button, really appreciate that. One, it helps out for the YouTube algorithm, but also I'm making a dedication that I'm gonna be more consistent with uploading my videos. And if you guys like my content, then I'd love to share more content with you guys. So go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button. That'd be great. All right, so now let's get back into the last part of it. So the last part I'm going to talk about is actually just go over quickly the calendars, and this is where I'm seeing people having the issues with that. All right, so for this one, I'm going to go into the demo company account because this is where I have some of my calendars connected. Okay, so in here, if I go into my staff, okay, so here I have a couple of profiles in here, demo, naturally, demoing some things. But as you see, I have both my profiles in here. So they're both in here. Now, this is where I've been seeing a lot of people have this issue because they'll have two of them in here. And what they'll do is they will go to, we'll say, go into the teams here. Then on the team, they'll have two of their names in here. So for this one I have is the other one, which is, should be the profile, I should be deleting. But they have this here. And so now what they've been doing is when there's a booked call on a calendar, we go here, team event. So the calendar, they think, oh, I should be getting booked calls. I should be getting them on my Google Calendar. Well, they're not because this is that opposite profile, which is probably a different Google account. So that's why you want to remove yourself from any other locations or any other profiles that you have. You don't want to have all these profiles on your HighLevel because then it just gets confusing on which one is which. You got to log in and log out. Again, as I showed before, not needed. So this is where you would close this up. I would come back to my staff. I would go to teams. And in this case, I would make sure it's the other one. So I'll go to team info and I'll remove that one, do that one. And then I would go and delete that original Aaron Delzensky. So see, that's the main profile in there. So now if I go into my profile, I scroll down. So now this is where the calendar section is and Zoom. So my Zoom is connected. So I can actually go and connect several Google calendars. I already have one here connected. So I'll go ahead and connect another one just so that we can see. Come into the integrations down here. And now you have the Google account here. So I can sign into another Google account, which I'll do that real quick and be right back. All right, so I added my second account. So now we have my second account here. So I have two Google accounts. Now, one thing to note, for anybody that's going to be on this sub account, this location, they need to go into the integrations tab here and they need to connect their Google account. Sign in, unless you have their login and password, which you probably shouldn't. But side note, they need to log in, go to integrations, connect their Google account, because then they can get the booked calls pushed onto their calendar. So if we go into profile now, so now we scroll down here. And now you see I have the two different calendars connected. So which one is the primary calendar? I'll click on edit here and I'll choose which one do I want the booked calls to be booked on. So whatever my main calendar is, we'll say it's this one. Then choose the calendar here, choose that. So now all booked calls are going to get pushed onto this calendar for me that are assigned to me. Now this one, all booked calls are going to get put onto this calendar. And if I wanted to check for other calendars, maybe one of them is my personal, one's my business, and I have different calendars to separate out my schedule, then you can have it check for conflicts on multiple calendars. So if I edit this one, I can choose which ones I wanted to check for conflicts for. If I want to check birthdays, I want to check the main calendar. Probably just want to check the calendar. We'll click save. And then this one, well, I'll choose by default because this is my primary calendar. It's default going to check for conflicts on that one. So you can't select it. But if you had other calendars within that Google Calendar, you can check that one as well. So that's the quick setup of connecting your Google calendars to the calendars in HighLevel. And now whenever you get a booked call, they'll get put onto that calendar. And as a note, remember each of your employees or users that are going to be getting booked calls on that calendar, they each need to log in under their profile in HighLevel, go to the integrations, connect their Google account and whatever other ones they want. Then they come back to their profile here. And this is where they can set up the conflicts and choose their primary calendar. Okay, so that's the calendar. And just as the last recap, remember, you don't need to have multiple profiles for your HighLevel. That's the whole purpose of the locations sub-accounts. So you really just need to add yourself to the specific sub-accounts of the account that you are an employee for, that you want to get booked calls, you want to get leads assigned to you. Other than that, remove yourself from all the other accounts because you can still go in there and still make edits to the sub-account because you're the owner of HighLevel. All right, hope everybody enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and then I will get back to you on them. And also I will I'll record another video for other issues that you guys have. All right, I will talk to you guys on the next video.